dies.
Hello and welcome to the Unofficial Maritime Wrestling Podcast interview series. And today it is our pleasure to have one of the greatest heels in the history of maritime wrestling, the one and the only, no class, Bobby Bass.
Hello, boys. How you doing?
Very good. Thank you for doing this.
Thank you for asking me. It's been a long time since I've been heard in the Maritimes.
Way too long.
Yes, sir.
So Jason is Corey's gonna kick us off.
First of all, Bobby, it's an honor. Thank you for doing this. We're really excited here. So tell me this, Bobby. Were you a wrestling fan growing up?
No, I was not. No, I was not a wrestling fan at all, believe it or not. I can tell you how I got in the business if you'd like to hear it. You know? Yes,
sir. That's my next question.
Well, me, my two brothers, Tommy and Gary, were sitting in the living room one night. My dad would read the newspaper, and he says, well, he didn't call me Bobby. I got a real name. I'm going to use it, okay? Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah,
absolutely.
My real name is Dennis, right? So he got the newspaper up, and he said, Dennis, there's a wrestling school down here in Queen and Ossington Avenue at Sully Gym, and he said, Phil Watson's running it. And he said, I think you're big and ugly enough to go down there and get into it. So, that's true. So I said, to keep the old man happy, I said, okay, I go down, and I fell right in love with pro wrestling. I trained for a year. Phil said I was ready to go after 6 months. I said, no, I wanted to be a bump taker. I wanted to learn the business because it always worked. And I'm going to use the old terminology, jobber. I always worked for a jobber. And I stayed in the gym for a year, and then I went on my first tour of Northern Ontario in 1967. And that's how my dad changed my whole entire life, believe it or not. God bless him.
What was it like getting trained by Phil?
It was rough. I mean, he had you doing. Don't forget, we practiced and learned our trade in a boxing ring. It's just like landing on concrete. And a lot of people come in and a lot of people left because he couldn't take the bump taken in the hip toss, backdrop, arm drags, everything. It was rough, but Phil had me do about 25 hip toss, 10 backdrops, arm drags. But you learned your lesson. And when you left that gym, you knew how to be a pro wrestler and how to protect yourself in the ring. Wow. At least I did, anyway.
People in the Maritimes know you as No Class, Bobby Bass. Yeah. How did you get the nickname No Class?
That's a funny story, but I knew you were going to ask that. Me and Len Denton, I never heard. Len went into grappler, and he come up to Stampede Wrestling when I was in there, and Stu put it together. Bobby Bass at that time, the Texas Outlaw, and Len Denton. So we got into what he called a battle royal, a 22-man battle royal, and the midget got in. And they were running around kicking the back leg and bite you on the butt, the comical stuff. So there was about 4 midgets. So I think it was Cowboy Johnny Lang. We grabbed him I grabbed him by the arms, and Lenny grabbed him by the feet, and he swung him. We went, wee! He goes, no, higher. The boy, we get another one. He goes, no, higher. So we let him go. Boy, and he went up to the lights. And you got to imagine that 22 guys looking up, and Johnny gets the light. He starts to fall. The light starts to fall. We all step back. He hit the back. The light hit him and broke. Now, I didn't know it, but Ed Whalen, God rest his soul, said, Bobby Bass has no class. So I didn't hear that until Saturday. Yeah, the next day when we were watching TV, and I heard Ed Whalen say, no class, Bobby Bass. I said, whoa, So we went to, where was it? Edmonton that night. And all the people started saying, no class, no class, no class. So I said, hey, that's a pretty good handle. So I've been calling no class ever since, and I thank Ed Whalen for that. And then, here's a quick little story for you. I talk a lot, by the way, guys.
You go ahead, sir.
I went to Atlanta Grand Prix, and I come in, and the mule said to me, I'm going to call you Mad Dog Bobby Bass. I said, no, I don't want that name. I said, I'm going with the name No Class. He goes, well, if you don't take Mad Dog, you don't come in here. I said, well, it's okay. I don't come in here. And I started to leave. He says, wait a minute. He says, yeah, maybe that no class will work for you. So I said, it worked everywhere else. So if anybody got a poster that said Mad Dog, Bobby Bass, that's a collector's item. I got one, but I would offer a lot of money for it. I won't sell it. But yeah, that's how I got the name, No Class Bobby Bass, and it's been with me ever since. And of course, as you guys know, the great people at the Maritimes, just loved it.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
I remember Emil saying to me, I don't like your face. I don't like your voice. I don't like nothing about you, but you're going to make me money. And I said to myself, well, I hope you make me some money. old deep pocket Emil. God, I love the guy. He had a great personality, great promoter. But boy, he had the deep pockets, So, but nice guy, super nice guy. He's a legend in the Maritimes, and I'm glad I worked for him.
So you talked a little bit about Stampede Wrestling, but you had a good time in Stampede Wrestling. What was it like at that time in Calgary or in Alberta?
Cold.
It was cold.
It was good. I mean, like Stampede in Atlantic Grand Prix, you learned your trade. You learned how to be a professional wrestler in and out of the ring, because you work with so many different guys, so many different styles that you would learn. I mean, I was very, very fortunate, as you guys know. I was brought in by the Cuban Assassin to be his partner, and we worked against. And God, I got to say this guy, bar nobody in the Maritime, the living legend, Leo Burke. And, and Bobby K, and the Beast, especially Leo. I mean, God bless him. He's gone now, and Bobby's gone. The Beast, all of them are gone. But you worked with Leo, and boy, I tell you what, you learned a lesson every night. And you work with the Cuban, geez, amigo, come on, amigo, get up your ass, let's go. I'm serious. I mean, you go 45 minutes top speed. I mean, you got to give them people. And when we were wrestling, they don't want to see you put somebody in a headlock and hold it for 10 or 15 minutes. They want to see crisscross, drop down, boom, 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 boom. And you had to give them that. If you didn't, go home. That's what I say. That's what Emil would say, too. But, yeah, it was quite the experience. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. I had a great, great time.
So after Stampede, you spent some time in international wrestling. And I'm going to say some names, and I want you to just share stories or some thoughts, whatever you'd like. The first name that I'm going to mention with international, obviously, Mr. Al Zink.
You know what? I got along good with Al. I had no problem. Al was nice to me. I was nice to him. And that's all I can say about Al. He treated me good, and yeah, Al was a hell of a guy. I liked Al. So go ahead. The next one. I know.
Next one. Well, the next one was the Cormier brothers, but you kind of went over them. Do you have any good Cormier brothers story though?
Yeah, but I can't tell them all.
That's fine.
But I'll tell you one thing. I got along good with Leo. I got along good with Bobby K. I didn't work with the Beast that much, and I'll tell you why. My style would not fit his routine, the big strongman stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I worked with him once or twice, and then I said, listen, guys, I can't work with him. No disrespect, but it'd be a crappy match. And they understood that. And you guys know, I don't know if you know this, but you know where I'm from, right?
Yep.
Yep.
Where am I from?
Dartmouth, Nova Scotia.
That's right. Yep. I had the gimmick being from Texas. And guys, I got to tell you, most of I've been to Texas to the John Wayne movie on a Saturday afternoon. but I mean, I was told, listen, don't tell anybody you're from Dartmouth, And I said, okay. And I had friends there I couldn't even go see. They didn't recognize me after, with the beard and the long hair, or what hair I had. But, I was in the Maritime for, he brought me back for 10 years. Emil said, you're a draw here, and you make money for me. And I come back, and I was very lucky. I worked with the Cuban Assassin. I think we had the belt 4 or 5 times, and then Ron Starr come in. And then me and Ronnie clicked, and we were tag team for a while. And of course, we turned the Cuban babyface. And, we just had great matches in them days. I missed them days, be honest with you, But, yeah, I'm a Dartmouth, Nova Scotia boy, Blue Noser.
So the next name that we have is Freddie Sweeten. You have any memories?
Freddie 310.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Freddie, I got along great with him. I'll tell you a story about Freddie 310. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Me and a Japanese guy, I just looking at the other night. He was there in the 70s. Anyway, we scared the bejesus of him with the movie, with that girl who turned her head around? The Exodus. He got scared. So we went home. We drove Freddie home to a cottage, and Freddie said, "Come on in for a couple of brewskis." And we said, "No, we gotta get back to the hotel." So we left. Next morning, Freddie was found dead, burnt to death in the cabin. You guys remember that?
Yeah.
And he had a bullet in his head.
I do. The Japanese wrestler, was it the Great Kuma?
It could have been, yeah. Could have been.
Because he was in the territory around that same time. He was the North American champion. Yeah.
And we, for some reason, we just said, no, we can't stay. And the next morning, Freddie slumped over the table with his head on his arms and, burnt from the bottom up. And what I heard, I don't know how true it is, but he said he had a bullet in his head,
Yes.
Yeah. And I know the next name you're going to ask me about.
So we got George Crybaby Canyon.
I didn't know George that much. I never worked for him. He had a promotion here in Ontario. I didn't work for him at all. So I can't say too much about George.
J.J. Dillon.
Oh, yeah. Me and J.J. Good friends. I worked for him in the Carolinas. I worked for him. Well, matter of fact, the first time I met him, you guys probably remember this, was in, what's it? In Nova Scotia at a show, and he'd work in the cowboy gimmick. J.J. Dillon and Leo Burke. Where the heck is that? Up the road somewhere.
Amherst?
No, Pastoral. You keep on Pastoral.
Spring Hill?
No. I'll think about it, then I'll let you guys know. But, you've been so many places, you forget,
Absolutely.
But, that's why I met JJ, and we hit that pretty good. Then in Carolinas, I met him, and then, of course, in CAC, you meet him there. He's getting up there in age now, believe it or not. We all are, actually, to be honest.
So, what about the Mongols?
No, never met him. Nope.
And then the last name I have is the Great Kuma, who you actually mentioned a little bit earlier.
Yeah, I don't remember too much about him. If I remember correctly, he didn't speak too much English. We drove me, him, and Freddie, and what's the guy's name? Mike the Judge Dubois. Remember him?
Dubois. Mike the Judge Dubois.
Yeah. He picked the real original name, Alex Smirnoff.
Yeah. Got any memories on Dubois? Because I forgot to mention that one. He became Alexius Smirnoff, all right?
Yeah. I met him in the Maritime, and as you guys know, I'd consider a bump taker. Take all kinds of bumps. And he was the bump taker. And I never went out and, tried to outdo him or anything like that, but he always tried to outdo me in bumps. And I said, Mike, what's wrong with you? He said, well, I'm the best bump taker ever. I said, okay, whatever, I don't care. Do what you got to do. And I just did, higher bump than he did. And he got a little upset with that. And when I saw him at ACC, I said, Alex, long time no see. Yeah, how you doing, man? And he walked away. I guess still held a grudge. I don't care. Kick my ass, I don't owe you nothing.
So you talked a little bit about working in the Carolinas and stuff. What other promotions in the U.S. did you work?
NWA, Pensacola.
How was your time there?
I probably got the best name, believe it or not. Because when I was in Paducah, Kentucky, late 1967s, I went down there, snuck across the border, because I read the back of Wrestling magazine. They wanted wrestlers. So I went down and I got the name and another name, and the Bass brothers were there, Ronnie and Donnie and Ma Bass, and we all got to be friends. And then when Pat O'Connor and Harley Race saw me in Paducah, they wanted me to come to Kansas City, to be a jobber there. And I said, hey, great, money was better. I had the first match with Andre the Giant, me and a guy called Tokyo Joe, when he came into the United States. He came in to Kansas City at one of his first stops, and me and Joe worked with him for like a week and a half or 2 weeks, something like that, 1975. Yep.
Be quite the memory.
Yeah. I got, excuse me, I got along great with him. Wherever I was in the territory, and he'd come in, like Vancouver, he said, Bobby Bass said, yeah, I work with Bobby, nobody else. We had your client. I want to work with Bobby. I want to drive with Bobby. And I had the van that he could stretch out, and had the big garbage bag or garbage cooler full of, beer for him. And he liked that. All you heard, But, he was a good guy. We got along really good together, and we did a lot of traveling together and good laughs and all that,
Cool.
But
You mentioned Harley Race. You mentioned Harley Race a minute ago. What was it like working with him and Bob Geigel?
Good, but great. They treated you like a professional wrestler. They didn't treat you like somebody, well, they liked you because you could work, and in that territory, you were all over the place, and you had to work. I mean, that's why I met Bob Orton Sr., the big O,
Yeah.
And I met Harley Race. I met Roger Kirby. I met who was it? Oh, darn. Anyway, all these guys I met that were, big stars and all that. And Jim Brunzell, I had one of the first matches with Jim in Kansas City, and a lot of guys come in there and work, and you learn. Like again, if you want to learn your trade, you learn your trade. You don't say, well, I'm this and that. You want to get up in the lineup and get higher up so you make more money, and then I think Ronnie broke his leg in Pensacola, and Ma Bass phoned up Pat Connor and Harley and said, Bobby up there? And she said, yeah. So she said, we want him as a partner. So I thought he said, hit how dumb I am, guys. I thought he said under the mask. So he said, you're going to Pensacola. He said Bass, but I understood mask. So I went down there and I said, yeah, that's right, dumbass Bobby kicked in the head one too many times. So anyway, I get down, I say, Ma, how you doing? Donnie, how are you? They go, we got your tights and all over. What are you talking about? Well, you're a Bass brother now. I'll wait till you hear this, guys. They wanted to call me Clem. Yeah, Clemmer or Hector or something like that. And I said, you guys serious? Oh, yeah. I said, no. I said, you got Ronnie Bass, you got Donnie Bass, now you got Bobby Joe Bass. And the name stuck ever since, So I was with them for 2 years until Ronnie got his leg back together. And then he went back with the Bass brothers, and Pat O'Connor phoned us in Pensacola. I never heard a guy called Joe Pilardi. He said they're looking for a tag team up in BC. So I recommended you and Joe. So I picked Joe up. We drove up to Vancouver, and Al Tomko was the promoter at the time. And he said, I'll give you 3 weeks, he said, to get over the tag team. And we worked mainly with the Morrow brothers, Eddie Morrow and Jerry. And we got over like $1 million. He put the belts on us, and I stayed there maybe 2.5 years. And Joe stayed 2 years, and he left. Of course, we turned on him and had a good time with that. And then I got the call for Stampede to work with Brett. So I went into Stampede, and I think I had the first match, tag match with Brett. And then we did real good, and we took the international belt off of Brett and Keith, and we held them for about 6 months. And Jim Neihard and Hercules Cortez, I think, took them off us. And then Hercules left, and Jake Roberts joined them. And then about maybe 2.5 months later, we took them back off of Jim Neihard and Jake Snake Roberts. So we were pretty good,
What was it like working with those guys, like Jake the Snake and Brett?
Well, I worked with Jake when he brought Jake into BC. I was top heel there, so me and Jake had a 2-month program. I think we had the first cage match in Vancouver at the Peony Gardens.
Wow.
So we had it down pat. We worked every night, every time, and it was great. And Jim Neihart, I had the first. You guys don't believe it, but I had the first match when Jimmy come into Stampede Wrestling. I don't know if you remember. He used to play for he played football for some team.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah, and he threw a pass to him.
It was the Raiders.
Yeah, and he missed the pass. He dropped the pass. Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah. So every time I get in the ring, I go, "Hey, Jimmy, catch the ball! Don't drop it!" Oh, he gets pissed off. But well, I had the first match, for a couple of weeks with Jimmy and. But Brett, I just saw Brett last Saturday. He was in Ottawa, and I went up and the honored Ronnie Hutchison, one of the best trainers in the world, as far as I'm concerned. And Brett, he looked very frail. The guy said to me, we walked in and said, "I'd like to see Bret Hart." He said, "Who are you?" I said, "I'm a good friend of Bret." He said, "You don't know Bret Hart." I said, "Hey, I know Bret Hart, okay?" So, dig this. He said, "Empty your pocket." He had it one. I said, "What are you doing?" He goes, I'm checking you out. I said to him, "Hey, guy, this is the wrestling match, pal. We're not at the goddamn White House, So I went into my pocket. I said, "Piss on you. I'm not emptying no pocket." So anyway, I said, "Go tell Brett Bobby Bass is here." He goes, "You don't know him." I said, "Go down and tell him." They went down and told Brett, and Brett said, "You let him in right now." Or I want to know why. So me and my buddies went down and seen Brett, and Brett gave me a big hug. "Jesus, old timer." He said, "How you doing?" I said, "Who the hell are you calling old timer?" Jesus Christ. But I spent about 10 minutes with him because he had to catch a plane back to Calgary. But he said to me, "You got my number, right?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "When you come out to Calgary, you get your ass over to the house. We have a few brewskis." I said, "Okay, see you later." And away he went.
Excellent.
Well, I know Brett 40 years. And then we did that Territories. Remember that one? We did Territories. We did Calgary. And here's something funny. There was Dave Schultz, Abdullah the Butcher, myself. So at the end, he said to Dave Schultz, "Dave, you went on great in the WWF. You did good, man. Abby, you're world famous. Bobby, you did the best you could." So I leaned over to Abby. I said, "Son of a bitch." Yeah, you did the best you could. Oh, gee, I laughed, But I didn't take offense to that because, it's true. I did the best I could. I had a lot of fun. I took the business for entertainment, entertain them people, and don't give 100%, give 200% or 250, and get out there and work your butt off. And you got guys like Cuban, Leo, Bobby Kay, Stephen Pettypaw, Paul Pellerin, all these guys that were professionals, and you could work with them, and they knew what the hell they were doing. So, but it was fun. 10 years. I don't think any woman named a baby no class after me. I'm pretty sure,
What were your memories like working for Maple Leaf Wrestling?
Good, good. You know what? It seems like I'm bragging, but I'm not, guys. You guys asked me a question. I tell you, I'm quite honest about it. I got over in Maple Leaf Gardens, believe it or not. I walked. Here's the story for you, boys. They say you walk that ramp in Maple Leaf Gardens, you got it made. Let me tell you, boys, that I walked that ramp 100 times. I never had the goddamn thing made. But Gary Hart, remember him? He managed a great kabuki.
Yeah.
And apparently he stabbed somebody one night. I was flying up from Carolina to work the gardens, and when he got stabbed, he stabbed somebody. They wouldn't let him back in the country, so they needed a manager for kabuki. So Gary Hart said, "Use Bobby. He's a good Canadian, he's a good talker. I'll get him." So I managed kabuki, I think for about a year or something like that. And here's a little story, guys. I said to him, "Hey, kabuki." "Oh, Bobby, what do you want?" What is that green stuff you spray out of your mouth?" And he said to me, "Bobby, old Chinese secret, I cannot tell you." I said, "Oh, okay." But I made this. He made so much money a night. I made so much money in it, same as he made. That was the deal. But
Cool.
yeah, we got when we were. I think we were working with Angelo Mosca and his son, and that we worked that gimmick with them guys, and we were semi-main event and all that. It was good, and had a lot of fun, and you worked hard. Roddy Piper was there and Jimmy Snuka. I worked with them guys. Worked with all the guys. Had a great time.
Cool. You've also wrestled in Japan with IWE. What was that like working over there compared to here?
You had to be on the ball. I'll guarantee you that. Because they work your ass off. I was brought back 4 or 5 times. I think it was. They liked my work. I was always in the cage or a strap match or a chain match or something like that. And you worked. You worked all the time. That's why I met the Dynamite Kid, Tommy, and we became lifelong friends. I worked with him in Maple Leaf Gardens, him and Davey Boy Smith, me and Goldie Rogers. I don't remember Goldie, God rest his soul.
Yeah, absolutely.
Goldie said to me, he said, "That's the best match we ever had." He said, with the British Bulldogs in Maple Leaf Gardens. I said, "Goldie, we worked on Calgary hundreds of times." But Goldie gone now. But all them guys are gone. Think about it, guys. Leo Burt's gone. Bobby Cade gone. Beast is gone. What do you call it? Gone. The other Comey brother, Rudy. All them guys are gone. And Cuban's not in good health. Ronnie Starr's gone. And, you say drinking beer don't keep you healthy. I may have to disagree with that.
And for those that don't, they might start.
Oh, don't take my advice, guys. No, we had a few brewskis. We traveled 7 days a week, and again, you had to be in shape, and you had to know how to work the crowd. I know that today a lot of the people don't work the crowd. They work, and then I'll probably get a lot of flack for this, but hey, call me no class. I don't care. They ask me what I think of today wrestling. I'm not too excited about it. They do 95 high spots for no reason whatsoever. And I don't see no psychology in that. I remember working with Leo in Bridgetown. Full house, main event. And I'd taken over in Leo, boom, boom, boom. I threw him to the corner, give him a couple of shots. Nothing. People did not react. I said, Leo, block the shot, start boxing me. Boy, he blocked it and started boom, boom, boom. I stepped back in the ring, picked me up, slammed me, threw me in, got me in the sleeper. I ran him into the turnbuckle. He dropped it. I threw him in again. He grabbed me in a headlock. I threw him in. I dropped down. He dropped down. I come off the rope, caught me in the middle of the ring with the sleeper. The people went crazy. It's simple and easy to get the crowd. And I never ever swore at the audience, or spit at them, or fingered them, or grabbed my crotch. And that. We were told not to do that. Today, I did matches today with F this and son of a bitch that, asshole this. I'm saying, holy Christ. You wouldn't get away with it when we were wrestling,
Yeah, the respect was different.
Yeah, it was definitely different, And you know the word kayfabe, right, guys?
Oh yes.
Yeah. We never saw Leo Burke or the baby faces all summer. Also, Leo was walking down the street with his family, let's say in Moncton on the sidewalk, and I was walking down the same sidewalk. I'd see him. No problem. I just cross over the other side and keep going. And we had our own bar in Moncton. The baby faces, as they call them, couldn't get in. They wouldn't let them in. It was our bar, the heel bar, and that was pretty good kayfabe as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, what bar was that?
Urban Corral.
Cool.
Yeah, he couldn't get in. I'm lying. Bobby K got in because he played. When he stopped wrestling, he came in there and played one time. And we told him, Bobby, you can't hold a ball. I can't hold a tune in a bucket. You had to rib him. But,
of course. You mentioned a lot of these guys like Brett and stuff. What was it like wrestling for the WWF?
The honest God truth, to me, it was just another company to pay you. We're all wrestlers. You understand? no matter you're in the NWA, WCW, or TNA, it's all wrestling in a company to pay you. You know?
Yeah.
And that's how I looked at it. I mean, every kid today, you mention something and they say, "Oh, WWF, WWE." That's all they talk about. I mean, there's so much independent wrestling out there, which is great. It's fantastic. The Dave Boyce.
Absolutely.
I don't like Dave. Don't tell him that, But hey, I'm going to tell you something about Boise. Never buy me a beer in Vegas. Never. You can ask him when you see him. But I got to buy him beer. It cost me cheap,
Sounds like boys.
Oh, yeah. So you know him.
Oh, we know, boys.
Oh, yeah, we know, boys. So, Bobby, I got to ask you something.
Go ahead.
You mentioned the Urban Corral, and since it came up, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it. My dad is Bob Robichaud, Robert Robichaud from
Morning Sun.
Morning Sun.
I know Bobby really well. You kidding me?
No, that's my dad.
You get out of here.
I'm telling you the truth, sir.
Matter of fact, I can tell you something. I still got the record, Terry, he recorded. Remember that?
Yeah.
I got that. I kept that. And Phil Stewart, Phil was a good buddy of mine. God rest his soul. Larry. What was the lead singer name? The little short guy. Help me out here.
They had a few different ones, but Phil was one of their singers.
Yeah, name one.
Oh, gosh. The names are escaping me, Bobby.
Yeah, I saw your dad. Well, you must know the Dwarons.
I do know the Dwarons.
Okay, I know Paul and Roger and all the guys. Yvonne. I know them guys. Oh, geez, 40 years. 40 years I know them. And matter of fact, I'll tell you a quick story. Me and Leo Burke, I got on TV and shot my mouth off. You won't believe that, me talking big mouth. But I said, "Leo Burke, I hear you were a boxer. But you're talking to the Canadian Golden Glove champion. Boys, never boxed a day in my life. You bullshit." So anyway, I said, "I'd like to box you and knock your head off your shoulders and send you to the hospital." So Emil thought it was a great idea. So he said, "Okay, you and Leo have the boxing match." He said, "Leo will drop you in 5 rounds." I said, "No. I'm going to box. I want to go 10 rounds and let him get the decision." He go, "Can you go 10 rounds?" I said, "Hell yeah." Anyway, I trained with Paul Dwaron, and Roger. Boy, they had the plastic garbage bag on me. They had me running. They had me vomiting, everything. But I was in shape, and I didn't tell Leo. Didn't say a word. So Ron Gogan, the referee, said, "You guys ready? 10 rounds. Can you do it?" And don't forget, we had the long tights on, the wrestling boots, and everything else. So all the boxers in Moncton, the first night was in Moncton, outside of Moncton, forget the name of the place, but all the boxers come out. They all bought ringside. And I'm in there dancing like Muhammad Ali and all that shit. And we start the match. And boy, I tore into Leo like a goddamn piranha tearing into a goddamn dead fish or something. Anyway, I kicked the beat Jesus out of him. And he said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Call me Muhammad Bobby now." Anyway, they told me, "Ron said, drop the glove. I got to give him some points." I said, no. So I took the first 6 rounds. I had him in the corner. I danced like Muhammad. Boom, 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 boom. And I said to Leo, "Okay, you take the next 5 rounds." He near knocked me out, the son of a bitch. So I hit the rope, and Paul said, "How are you?" I said, "Where are you?" I'm looking right at him. Anyway, I had a soda pop bottle, Canada Dry, big one. But without telling Paul, I filled it with whiskey. And every time I go there, I take a swig. Yeah, geez, I'm good. So Paul said, "How'd that water taste?" "Oh, that water's good, Paul." So about the 6th round, Paul takes it. "Hey, you son of a bitch." He said, "That's whiskey." I said, "I know." But anyway, we went 70 rounds that week.
Oh, my God.
70, and you got to be in shape, guys. And I'm not bragging, but we were in shape. 70 rounds, and I think I won two matches. 2, and Leo won the rest. Gee, I got another story I'll tell you in a minute here. I love telling stories. Anyway, all the boxers in the ringside booed Leo. They did. Yeah. I'm going to Leo. See that, Leo? They know a boxer when you see one near the crowd. You guys know when he had he had a lot of super destroyers down there, but I managed them all at one time. But Bill Dromo was what do you call my manager that night. One night when I boxed Leo. I said, Leo, come on, give it to me. Boom, boom, boom. Knock me out of the ring. So boom, boom. And I take the bump out the ring. And I get back in the ring. And Leo said, you're bleeding like a son of a bitch. I said, what? And Bill he cut me outside the ring. I didn't know. He zipped me. And I was bleeding. And Ronnie said, stop it. I said, no, keep it going. Fucking Leo just saw that blood and went like fucking crazy. Oh, sorry. He went crazy. And boy, I was bleeding like a stuck pig. And the 10th round, I just went to my knees and ding, ding, ding. The match was over to give it to Leo. But I looked at Bill. He had that big shit-eating grin on his face. Gotcha. You see a smile under the mask, you know. But yeah, a lot of good time back. I have no regrets being a pro wrestler. As you can tell, I love talking about it. I love telling stories about it. But also, I got a lot of heat in the Maritimes, being no-class Bobby Bass. And guys, I'll tell you what, people ask me today, how'd you do it? Even Leo said, how do you do it? I said, I don't know. Haven't a clue. And I didn't. I used to remember going out in Halifax Forum. The place sold out. And, no class. By the way, your old man's one hell of a guitar player.
He's a very talented fella.
He's
a very talented fella, and he has a lot of good things to say about you, sir.
We stopped that sir shit, Bobby. He gave me an autograph CD of his. When I was down with Paul, we were in a campground. He came up with his motorhome. He got a motorhome, right?
Yep.
He had a motorhome at that time. Him and his wife, I think, came up to the campground in Shadyac, I think it was. Yep. But your dad's a hell of a guy. Okay, boys, ask me something. I'm not doing all the talking here. Christ.
So we're going to talk about probably what's that?
Ask me anything you want.
So we're going to talk about probably the territory that you're probably most remembered for, Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling.
Yeah.
So you worked for Emile Dupree for quite a bit. What was Emile like as a promoter? Was he good guy? Was he fair on payoffs?
Okay, got 2 questions. I'll answer them both. A fair guy, yeah. No, he was a very fair guy. He doesn't get the credit he deserved. One hell of a promoter. He knew what he was doing. He knew how to fill in seats. He knew what talent to bring in. He knew what talent would draw. But you know, and his son will probably hear this, me saying this, and I'm not the only one to say it. He had deep pockets, you know. No, he did. And you made a deal with him. He kept with that deal. I gotta be honest. He never beat you for your money, but he never gave you more money. You know what I'm saying?
No.
Got time for one more story about Emile?
Absolutely.
Oh, God. Time for 10 more. Keep going.
Me and my wife went down. He brought me down for the Legend Tour. Me, Cuban, and the Beast. I don't know if you guys remember that. Anyway, we're doing good. We sold out almost every place. So we're in Halifax. Me and the wife's in the hotel room. There's a knock on the door. Open it up and there's Emile. Hey, Emile, how you doing? Everything okay? Yeah, he said, I just want to give you a bonus. He said, because you're drawing so many people. You guys are doing so good. I said, oh, okay. So you got to imagine Emile standing at the door, me and my wife standing there. He pulls out a roll of money, 100s and 50s and 20s. I didn't see no 5s or 10s in it. Anyway, he pulls out 100, looks at me, looked at the 100, looked at me, put the 100 back and give me 50. me and the wife just roared. And he didn't know what the heck to laugh at. So And then when we were leaving, we were way up north someplace. We had to catch a ferry from this place over to St. John. So we were parking the car up, and Emil said, "Gee, he said, Helen, he said, I wish Bobby would stay another couple of weeks. They're drawing so many good people." And Helen said, "Well, we have mortgages to pay and, bills to pay and all that." And Emil just put a big briefcase in a truck of a car. The place was so low, jammed. And he said, "Well, money's not everything." And we looked at Emil, and we just started laughing. "I love you, Emil. See you later." But he that's how he was. He became a multimillionaire, And you got to respect that. I mean, he made a deal with you, and he kept the deal. You didn't like it because you figured you wanted more money, but he wouldn't give it to you because you made that deal. And that sort of pissed a lot of guys off, including me. But I come to realize, hey, that's the way it is, I complained and nothing happened. I didn't complain anymore. I just did my job and got paid and, had a good time. But the Maritime, I've brought back 10 years in a row, I think it was. Yeah, 10 years.
Yeah.
I think I hold the record for that. And hey, guys, guess this. 10 times manager of the year. Huh? Pretty good.
Wow.
Yeah,
Pretty
but
good,
hey, dig it. Yeah, I the only manager there. I got my own trophy. You get on TV and said, "Look at, he voted me the manager here. Thank you, all you people." There's nobody. That was fun. Same trophy. Nobody knew the difference.
That's awesome. Just like international wrestling, we're going to throw a few names out, and if you have a story about them or something. First name, the Cuban Assassin.
Oh, listen. Sweetheart of a man, a great technician in the ring. He taught me a lot. I learned a lot from QB. Nobody messed with the Cuban Assassin. Tough as nails. Great cook, hell of a cook. I lived with him. We lived in Moncton, and he cooked all these great meals up. But you can't say it. Matter of fact, I heard he's not in very good health right now.
I heard that as well.
But it was hell of a guy. Hell of a guy.
Yeah.
Hell of a worker in the ring. Hell of a bump taker. You learn from a guy like that. Matter of fact, he brought me in as his partner to the Maritime. So he saw something in me, and I'm glad he did, to be honest with you.
Another big name from the Maritimes that is often forgotten is Killer Carl Krupp. So thoughts on him?
You know what? Killer Carl Krupp, love the guy. Killer was, well, I don't want to wreck his reputation, but behind the scenes, what a nice guy. Jesus Christ! Bobby, but he a hell of a crowd pleaser, a hell of a draw. He worked with Leo many times. He had that gimmick down pat, and only thing I wouldn't do with Killer would drive with him. He drove like a maniac. No, I don't think too many guys drove with him, but I remember we're going down the 103. We cut off a Truro to go to Halifax, and then the big lineup of cars. I think me and Cuban was in the car with Goldie, and Krupp behind the wheel, and he got that cigarette. He goes, "Jesus Christ, the traffic!" So he pulls out on the right-hand side, doing about 70, passing all these cars. Turns around the bend, and the RCMP comes. He pulls over, and he got smoking that cigarette upside down like a German do, and he goes, "Yes, we're going to help you with." And the guy said, "All them people said you passed him on the right-hand side." Hey, Cuban didn't know. Krupp did not do that. He hate the German. They're just making up lies. So the cop didn't give him a ticket because he didn't see it. The way he goes, 90, 100 miles an hour. That's not bad. Not dying with him no more. But that's a hell of a guy. And when he passed away, 95, I think
I believe it was 95, August 24th.
Yeah. Yeah, he put him in a, what do you call that room? Hospice or something like that?
Hospice, yeah.
Yeah, he was in there, and I be honest, I couldn't go see him in the hospital. I just couldn't. I know you got to understand it, but to see what he was like, and then see him in the hospital, he lost so much weight, he didn't look the same. And I wanted to keep Carl in my mind that I knew him. You know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I understand that. You
Miss him
mentioned
too.
him earlier, but Goldie Rogers, someone that is often forgotten about in
Yeah.
the history of wrestling, but he was a hell of a talent. So thoughts on him?
He was. Yep. Yeah. Me and Goldie trained with Phil Watson, believe it or not. And let's see, he didn't go on the Northern tours. We went on the Northern Ontario tours. And me and Gary McLaughlin went at the Hells Angels that time. And Goldie he went down south someplace. Anyway, we're working in Vancouver. And Al Tomko said that somebody in the dressing room wants to see you. I walk in. Hey, Goldie, is that you? I said, yeah. Give him a big hug. And I said, what are you doing? He said, I'm looking for a job wrestling. I said, well, let me put a word in for you. So Al Tomko, I said, Al, Goldie's a hell of a hand here. Can you use him? He said, well, he's awful small. I said, listen, I'm going to tell you something. Put him in the ring with me and you see how good he is. Because me and Goldie worked out hundreds of times in the gym. And I told Goldie, I said, listen, I'm going to call everything for you. Just do what I tell you to do. And we had a hell of a match. And he's a great match. And Al said, hey, he's a hell of a worker. But Goldie was there for 2 years. And he got the call to go to Rapide. And he did really well there. He's really well known in that time. You know? But you said he's not well known like, let's say, Cuba, myself, and Johnny Starr, you know? But he's a hell of a hand in the ring. He's gone too, you know?
Yep.
Got it done.
You just mentioned him, Rotten Ron Starr. What was he like?
Perfect gentleman. He another guy who had all these world titles, you know, junior heavyweight champion of the world tag team guy, and I know you guys understand. It was an honor to get in the ring with this guy and be a tag team partner with us, you know. And again, he would teach us stuff. But I think the reason we got along so well, we never traveled together, you know. And we had a booking like in Halifax. I'll meet him in Halifax. I drove with the Cuban, or if you know, we never drove, and we get in the dressing room, and they come in and say, okay, this is what you're doing. Okay, fine. And that was it. 45 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever. And I think that's why we didn't get bored with each other. We wasn't with each other. He had Peaches with him, I believe, his wife.
Yep, his wife, yeah.
She just passed away a month ago, I think. She's gone now. Yeah, so I think that's why we got along so good. We never traveled together. And I got a video here somewhere in my library, 1979, in Portland, Oregon. Me and Ronnie going at it. Yeah, I got that.
That must be awesome.
Yeah, I keep most of the stuff I work, you know. So you look back on them and say, wow, yeah, I remember that. But somebody say, Bobby, remember this match? And people tell me things I did that I don't remember, you know.
Yeah.
You know, you've been so many places, so many territories, so many matches, and you don't remember everything. But people do, and they tell you about it. I still get 150 hits on my Facebook every week.
Really?
Bobby, how you doing? What you doing? Yeah. So I must have been doing something right. You must have hated.
I think you did.
What's that old saying? I think they love to hate you or something like that. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Yep.
But I wasn't the same guy outside the ring. I separated the Bobby Bass character, my real self, you know. When I went to the match, I had Bobby Bass. I left it, and I never went to the bars, you know. And he said, "Oh, where?" You know, most guys go to the bar and get all pissed up and get in a fight. I was afraid I'd get my ass kicked in the bar. You know, yeah, I love the business, and I'm proud for everything I did in the business. And you know, a lot of people don't like me because who I was in the ring, but you never got to know the guy outside the ring.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, but yeah, you're right. I'm well remembered in the Maritimes. Wherever I go in the Maritimes, geez, everybody.
Yeah,
Bobby
absolutely.
Bass, you know, I'm 78 years old now, guys. You know, and
Yep.
I still get around. You know, I never took a drug in my life. I did in the dressing room with, I won't mention names, but you know, shooting up, doing this, doing that. And hey, Bobby, try this, try that. No, man, I don't want to do it. They called me chicken. I wasn't chicken. I was scared.
The Cormier brothers, you worked with them in international and again with Grand Prix wrestling.
Yeah.
Was there any difference between them in international and Grand Prix?
Yeah, in Grand Prix, I got treated different. I got treated as a pro wrestler. In international, I was just a jobber at to Rudy anyway, Peter Garbage. But when I went away to Carolinas and Japan, learned my trade and learned how to talk on the mic, and he couldn't say too much to me. Me and Cuban were the bigger jobbers in the Maritimes. Think about it. We put the baby. No, really, think about it. We put the baby faces over every day. We put them over.
Absolutely.
And people don't understand. They said, me and I think I had take team titles 17 times in my career. People said, "What, guy? They forget something. We lost them 17 times too. They don't remember that." But,
All right, so next person I want to get your thoughts on. Any memories on Frenchie Martin, someone else that we lost a few years ago?
hello, my name's Frenchie Martin, Bobby. How you doing tonight? Yes, Frenchie would. I'll tell you a story about Frenchie too. There's an old saying about you went into Grand Prix wrestling. If you didn't know how to wrestle when you went in there, when you left, you can go anywhere. Because you worked with different guys every night of the week, and green guys who showed how to work. Guys who knew how to work. We wouldn't hurt them. We would try to show them, hey guys, do this, do that, don't do this. You want to be a worker? Listen to me, listen to Frenchie, listen to Leo, listen to Cuban. And we taught a lot of guys how to work. And Frenchie was a great guy, sweetheart. Great story about Frenchie sitting home on Saturday morning. Bobby, how are you doing? Frenchie, doing good. How are you? He said, I'm dying. Do that. You're passing away. He said, I just wanted to say goodbye. I said, what? And the tears started in my eyes. Oh, man. He wouldn't be around too much longer. And my friendship, traveling with him, having fun with him. In some little town in the mountains, back me and Frenchie went to I know you're not believe, for beer, and the waitress hit on him. He made arrangements to meet her after the thing. So the waitress came in, she hit on Frenchie too. So Frenchie made arrangements to meet her after she worked. So Frenchie's sitting there and he goes, hey, I have 2 women tonight. Why, Frenchie, where to go? Can I get one? No. Anyway, they come over, they start fighting over Frenchie. And he got the cigarette and he goes, look it up, Bobby. He fight over the French man. They were fighting over Frenchie. Yeah, crazy son of a gun, but good guy. Good guy. Hell of a guy. Yeah. Matter of fact, I heard through the great. Oh, go ahead.
No, go for it. I love your stories.
Go ahead.
No, what were you going to say?
When he passed away, the CAC paid for his funeral.
Really?
Cauliflower Alley Club?
Yeah.
I didn't know that a couple of years ago. They told me.
Wow.
And I said,
That's
really?
awesome.
So I said, it's hope for me. But he was a nice guy.
Yeah.
A lot of good stuff.
Any memories on the Great Malumba?
Chicka boom, chicka boom, 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 chicka boom. He used to do that dance.
Yep.
He'd stomp around the ring and do the dance and throw you in the rope, give you the bear hug, I think. I mean, when I always try to take him, I'll let you, Cuban, you go ahead. You do that. The last time I saw Malumba was in Toronto. I'm walking down the street with my wife. And I said, hey, Bobby. I look around and say, hey, Bobby. I look around. There's a cab there, a yellow cab. And he's driving the cab. I walked in and said,
Oh, yeah.
Maluma, you're driving the cab.
I got a few more names here. Hercules Ayala Cortez. You wrestled.
Yes.
You either wrestled him or managed guys against him. What was he like? An import from Puerto Rico.
I worked with Hercules in Stampede. Actually, we had a loser leave town. And I used to jump him from behind, hit him with chairs, hit him with a brick, get the juice and everything else. And then when we was leaving town, I was going to put him over in the middle of the ring. So I said to Herc, I said, don't hold back. Go for it. Cause as a matter of fact, we're sitting down doing contracts and his wife there. And she starts, with the thing there, she started shooting them off. Shooting them off. I said, why don't you shut up? And I had a cup of Tim Horton coffee, lukewarm. I took the top off and threw it in her face. Well, she screamed like it was scalding hot. And he jumped me and we went at it. Everybody pulled us apart. And that's when we had the program going. So we had to bring our cars and trailers at Stampede Wrestling to show that they were full of our furniture, and we'd leave in town. Well, I was leaving that night. So it got so bloody, he had to take it off, to cut it off the TV. Me, not Stir. I can say the blade, right? Everybody knows what the blade. Okay. I hit the vein, and it squirted.
Oh.
Oof.
And I said, get me over by Ed Whalen and too hard. So he brought me over, and I leaned over, and I covered stew in juice, and I got Ed Whalen. And, I bent over, and he got a big puddle. I said, slam me, and I hit all the people at the ringside. But he was hitting me so bad, and it looked like it hit me. He said, you okay? You're turning white. I said, come on. And come on. I went down with one knee. He slammed my head into the mat. And then he just took it off the TV. There was so much blood, and then he pinned me. And
Wow.
I went back to the dressing room and got fixed up and got a couple of stitches and jumped in the car and away I went. And then the next time I saw him, was in the Maritime. He was down here. And I worked with him down here a couple of times.
Awesome.
He died in Edmonton. Another guy, heart attack, I think it was.
Yeah. Just a
Still
few
hanging.
years ago, right? In 2020?
Yeah. I don't understand. I'm still around, but all these guys are going.
Well, it's a good thing that we still have you.
Well, I hang around with Ronnie Hutchison. I hang around with Pretty Boy Sims. He either go with Pretty Boy Sims or Hercules Sims in the Maritime.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And, I just left these guys in Hamilton in a wrestling match, and someone said to me, "Bass, you're 78. You're still moving, still drinking beer." Well, of course. And he said, "You don't look 78." I don't know. I'm just having a good time, And maybe because I didn't do drugs, Maybe
Probably a good possibility.
It's a possibility, yeah.
I have I don't get depressed. Oh, I do when Ronnie don't buy me beer, that son of a bitch. But I got a good life. I work in a movie. I do maybe 2 or 3 movies a year. Make $70,000 or something like that.
That's
Ready
great.
for this? All you people in the Maritimes, 78. Hey, I get the old age pension, baby. Most people won't admit that. I get it, and I'm proud of it. I earned it.
That's right.
But, life is good. Life is what you make it. I try to be a nice guy. Not being Bobby Bath, being Dennis. Yeah. Bobby Bath, I had to be a heel, but they said, "Gee, Bobby, how could you be a heel? You're so nice." And again, I don't know. I just get in there and do my thing.
Playing a part.
The devil possessed me. But I don't know how I do it. I haven't a clue.
You do a hell of a good job to it.
I had fun. Me and Bobby Bass had a lot of fun together.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys couldn't do what I did. Get the heat. Buddy Lane. Remember Buddy Lane? Buddy always tried to
We
get
do.
the heat. With everybody. Well, especially me. He didn't like me. He didn't like, Buddy had the good looks, the body, worked in the gym all the time. Hey, I had hardly any hair, no teeth, you know, but I could work. I could call anything in the ring and get away. And we'd say, Buddy, how'd you make the matches tonight, Buddy? Did you watch your mule car today or cut it on? Get Buddy going. But I remember when I went down for the tours, he said, "You gonna put me over?" I said, "No." He said, "Well, you only down here for the Legend tour." He said, "You won't be here." I said, "I'm not putting you over." Even in BC, he did that. When I left, he said, "Put me over," which I did because I was leaving. I put him over, but I wouldn't put him. You always want to get, Buddy. You got to earn your place on the roster. If you're good, you get over. If you don't, you have good match with guys. You almost beat them, but they pin you. It's nothing personal, You're doing what the promoter tells you to do. Don't blame me, And you make him look like $1 million. The boy, he used to lay them. Sorry, he used to lay them punches in. Oh, God damn.
Yeah.
Whew. You're kind of angry tonight, buddy. But he's still around. Buddy's still around. I don't know what he's doing, but he's still around. Yeah.
He is. Do you have any memories of Hustler Rip Rogers?
Yeah, sure do. We tagged up together too, actually.
Yep.
Matter of fact, I saw a little clip about me and Rip working with a couple of guys. But Rip, good trainer, good worker, good worker. I think he was the international champion down there for a while.
A couple times, yeah.
Yeah, he had the body, he had the look. You ever see him today? You go, holy shit. You ever see him today?
He has his own podcast.
Yeah. Oh, does he?
Yes, he does.
He never asked me to be on that.
We beat him to the punch, huh?
Yeah. I don't do too many of these. I do very, very few. Matter of fact, the last one I did was my own. I have my own podcast.
I remember that one.
And I brought all Canadian guys on. I didn't want any American. Piper wanted to come on, and Ted DiBiase. I said, no, I want all Canadian guys. I brought Ron Starr on. Because Ronnie said, "Do you mind if I come on?" "No, come on, Ron." He did almost every week, and But I guess it's the only one I've done in all them years. I don't do too many.
No. Well, we're honored to have you on this one, and we still got some.
Jesus, got that right.
You mentioned being a manager in Grand Prix. Whose idea was that to turn you into a manager? And you were still wrestling at the same time, but you said, 10 years, manager of the year. Yeah,
you got that right. I think it was Emil's. Cause I can say that I had a big mouth. I could talk, and so he said, you love this. He said, "Why don't you get a tuxedo and be a manager?" So, Tip Top Taylor's up here. I went down Tip Top Taylor, and they were getting rid of tuxedos and frilly shirts and bow ties. $25 a piece, boys, for a tuxedo shirt. So I got two. And, so I didn't know it would be so strenuous because working a tag team, we do 45 minutes a night. You run back, you got a 15-minute intermission. Got to put that monkey suit on and come back out. And I had the cane. Remember the red, white, and blue cane?
Yep. Yeah. Oh, yes.
Still got I got it here someplace. But I couldn't do the managing. And I told Dave Boyd tonight, I said, "Dave, how come he kicked the shit out of you with the manager all the time?" I said, "He never got to me unless it was important. We did a big match or something." Dave said, "Oh, you know how it is." Pick on Dave when you see him about. But
I said, as a manager, they changed your name to Robert Joseph Bass III. Whose idea was that?
Mine.
Yours?
No, that was Gary Macwell's.
Okay.
I just talked to Gary last week actually, and he still called me Robert Joseph Bass III. And that was his idea, and it got over. People just, what the hell? It seems everything we did with Bobby Bass, No Class, it seemed to work. The manager worked, the No Class, what do you call it? Robert Joseph Bass work. You remember the
Robert
t-shirt
Joseph
I had?
Bass III.
I bet you don't remember the T-shirt I used to wear. See how good you are here.
Oof.
Come on. Your dad does. He knows.
My dad probably does. I don't remember.
It had Mickey Mouse on the front with yellow,
Mickey Mouse. Yep.
and it said on the back, "Hot Times in the Maritime."
I do remember that. Now I can't believe I forgot about that.
And you know what? I thought I got rid of that. And me and Helen was in our storage shed, and I opened this plastic container, and I had a couple of pairs of tights in there, and on the bottom, I found this T-shirt, and it got to be 40 bucks.
really? Wow.
And I said, "Holy shit! Wow!" So that brings back a lot of memories. It's a couple of letters missing and all that, but it's memories.
Absolutely.
Ken Reed from Sportsnet?
Yep.
You ever watch Sportsnet? Ken Reed.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're arguing back and forth now. I got a 5-minute thing on Sportsnet about Bobby Bass. It went all over the country. And he used to say, when he finished his broadcast, he'd go, "You want to get things done? Be like no class Bobby Bass." And that started. So, we picked on him and all that. And he said, "My mother didn't even like you, Bass." I said, "What's funny? When I was in picture, she took me out and bought me beer all night long." But Kenny just cut a promo for me. I got something coming up. I can't say right now. It did in the Maritimes actually. I can't. He told me not to say no.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll keep
But
it
I'll get in
quiet.
touch with you. I'll get in touch with you when it's happening.
Okay.
Perfect.
But,
Sure.
it's amazing. I don't understand the guy, to be honest. I'm 78. I've been doing this business, 20 years, something like that, and he still wants you down there.
Yeah.
And I said,
Well, you're wrestling royalty here.
"Oh, yeah, but I don't think like that. I'm thinking of just a guy who went in the ring, had a lot of fun. I know you won't believe that, but yeah, you are tell my friends. What did Bobby think of himself? Just a guy that had lots of fun. I mean, they call me legend. Okay, fine. To me, legend. To me, I'm a guy that was very lucky and did what he did, and had a great time being a great entertainer. That's what I think of myself. The things we did, the stupid shit and fun we had, I love all that. Don't get me wrong. But,
Yeah. Do you want to know how much you mean to the Maritimes? We've interviewed Dave Boyce. We've interviewed Wildman Gary Williams, Remy
Gary, I
Petit.
love Gary.
Gary's a great guy. And I mentioned at work, I mentioned to a bunch of people like, "Oh, we interviewed this person, and they're like, okay. I say, we're going to interview No Class Bobby Bass, and everybody turns around. They're like, "Really? Wow. So you guys are legit then." So it takes No Class Bobby Bass to put us over.
Thanks, guys. Made me feel good. But
For real though,
It's the truth, though. Like my mom was a wrestling fan when she was a little girl. Tell her all these names, and I say No Class Bobby Bass. She's like, "I remember in the Rishibuktu Arena in 19... And I'm like, "Go on. I've never talked wrestling with my mom. She told me stories about you for a few hours, I think." And it was like, that's awesome.
just hearing that's awesome to me. Believe it.
Yeah. It's the same thing here for sure. Yeah.
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 But again, anybody listening to this podcast, I never ever thought of myself like that. I thought that, like I just said, I trained. I did. Somebody said, "You ever do a job?" I must have did 3,000 jobs before I got onto the Bobby Bass gimmick and all. Get in Stampede and get into Atlanta Grand Prix and BC and I worked Montreal. But you learn your trade. But I never had. You can ask anybody. I never had the big ego. Is that what you call it? Never had the big head. I never had that, and I know what I could do. I know what I could draw people. Emil said I put a lot of asses in the seats. I should have said you didn't put a lot of money in my pocket. He probably hear that and turn over in the grave. He passed away too. But I mean,
yeah.
I think I'm in 5 Hall of Fames. Not when I got in the Canadian Hall of Fame, they said, "What do you think of that?" And this is John the God truth. I said, "You must be scraping the bottom of the barrel, boys." And I said, no, you belong in here. And I said, oh, thanks. But it's an honor. But I'm no different from you. I'm just a guy that got lucky, and the guy had a lot of fun. And the people listen to me. He say, he's bullshitting us again. No, you ask all my friends, they'll tell you what I'm like. I'm a no-nary guy. I had fun. I know what I could do in the ring. I know what I could do out of the ring. I in the ring, I was a professional wrestler. Outside the ring, I was a pro too.
Yeah.
I mentioned earlier, I would have fun in the ring if I saw some girl sitting in the ringside, not very pretty, and I'm not going to use the "you" word, but I say to her, I walk down and say, "That's your husband?" She go, "Yeah." I said, "Dump him. You're coming home. Go have a couple of drinks with me tonight." And I get in the ring and I wink at her and like that, and and she be giggling and all this, and I get thrown out the ring, and I make sure I get thrown out by her side. I say, "God, you're beautiful." And then I go to the bar, and her husband socked me in the jaw one time in Halifax. And I didn't get mad because I'm the guy that did all that. Anyway, I go to the bar, and who's there? Him and her. And he walked over and said, "Bobby, you made my wife feel like a queen." Everybody talking about it. I said, "Well, you're still coming home with me." But he thanked me, and he said, "What are you drinking?" A couple beers. Keep them coming. No, but I never called anybody ugly. I never called anybody son of a bitch. True story. Bob Brown, Truro. I used to drive a Cadillac. He drove a Cadillac. I used to park mine inside the Truro Arena at the far end. He took it the other end. A lot of black people in Truro. I got heat with the black people, but I didn't use any racial terms. I just had a lot of fun with him. Bobby go out there and call him the N-word. And he come back to dress me. "Bobby, you don't do that, man. What do you?" "Yeah, I had to get them going." Well, there's another way to get them going without saying that. When the arena empties, we go out. Your tires are slashed. His windshield broke. My Cadillac sitting over there, not a scratch.
Yeah.
In the mid 80s, as a manager, you managed guys like the Super Destroyer, the Iranian Sheik, who would become the Angel of Death, the Spoiler, but I don't believe that it was the original Spoiler. I believe it was Dan Moffat from Calgary.
Jardine. No, Don Jardine.
Was it Don Jardine?
Oh, yeah.
And Nikita Kalmakov as well. Any memories on Don Jardine and all these guys?
Oh, yeah. It's funny. I never met Don Jardine in my life until we got to manage him. We got very good friends. And you're going to laugh. He married an RCMP officer.
Yeah.
Female. I want you to know that. Female. And when matter of fact, me and Helen were in Stampede, and he lived out west. And I heard he was very, very sick. And you can ask his wife. Becky. We're still friends today. I phoned when I got Don on the phone. I said, "Don, I'd love to come and see you, man. I heard you're not feeling too good." He said, "Bobby, you don't want to come and see me. I don't want you to come and see me. You're not going to like what you see." I said, "Don, it's me." He said, "I know it's you." He said, "I don't want you to see me." So he handed the phone over to his wife, and Becky said, "Bobby, you don't want to see him. He's in really rough shape." And then he died a few days later.
Wow.
But we drove in the Maritimes. We had a great time together. And I didn't have to worry about anybody attacking me with Donnie there. He was a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah.
all the guys I worked with were tough. Tom Stanton, he was the spoiler at one time. And he's gone now. Who else was the spoiler? Bill Dromo, spoiler.
Yep.
I had three of them, I think.
I believe through the years.
Yeah, three guys. And, again, it was an honor to be asked to manage these guys. I must have been doing something right. Emil said I had the mouth.
You definitely had that.
Oh, yeah. But, I mean, I was on every program. You think about it, from the semi-main event right up to the end, main event, I was on all that. And on TV, I was on TV. The boys used to call it the Bobby Bath Hour. I was all the time. But
there's still a few full episodes of Atlantic Grand Prix Wrestling on YouTube from the mid '80s, and all over them from 85, 86. Like, I think there's like a handful of them from 1986
I love
when you're
this
managing. Oh, yeah. We can
How'd
send
you
them
get
to
it?
you for sure. They're on
Yeah,
YouTube.
well, I can give you my address when you go off the air, or give me your text number and I'll send it to you. You know.
Absolutely.
By the
Absolutely.
way, I got to tell you know your dad,
Yeah.
guitar player. He would never tell you this. And boys, this is Bobby Bass talking now. I taught him how to play guitar.
Did you now?
No, it's a Bobby Bass lie. But your pop was one hell of a guitar player.
In 1999, the Grand Prix Legends Tour kicked off, and they brought back No Class Bobby Bass. So do you have any memories of the Legends Tour?
Yeah, I did. First of all, let me say this. Emil phoned me, and he said, I'd like to bring you on a Legend Tour. I said no. I left the business in 92, but 7 years later, and I said, listen, I don't want to embarrass you. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to embarrass the guy I'm working with. I haven't worked all them years. Nope. He said, are you sure? I said, yeah. He said, well, I got the Cuban, I got the Beats, and a bunch of the guys. I said, well, I don't know. No, I don't think so. I hung the phone up, and my wife Helen said, Bobby, all these old guys you haven't seen for years, you'll probably never see them again. Why don't you go to the gym and work out and, work with Ronnie Hutchison and a few of the guys to get back in shape a little bit? I said, okay. So I phoned him and I said, okay, I'll come down. And I said, what's the money like? Jesus, the way I got that, stuttering and spitting. So we agreed on a price. And I said, okay. But I said, here's the deal. You love this, guys. I take no bumps. I walk, I talk like I always do. I said, no slams. Get the back at bad. No turnbuckles. I just lock up, boom, 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 wrestle. Guess who my first opponent is? Big Stephen Pettypaw. Love the guy. So I said, Steve, we're in the ring getting directed. I said, Steve, did you get the word? Yeah, Bobby, I got the word. And I look over his shoulder at the Hill dressing room, and all the boys are standing there. What's going on here? And I turn around, and all the baby faces are standing outside the room. I said, Steve, what's going on? Oh, do you want to see your work, Bob? I said, well, that's nice. So the bell rings, I put my hand out to shake it. Then he grabbed it and whipped me to the turnbuckle. Automatically, I come out and give me the big freaking backdrop. Boom, I get up, drop kick, boom, get up, arm drag, boom. And I look over at the dressing room, and the boys are just pissing themselves laughing. Jesus. I said, no bump. From that night on, I was right back in the bump mood. But it was funny. I didn't get mad or upset like that, but Steve said, welcome back. But it was fun. So, but yeah, I think, if I remember, Emil said Cuban, the Beast, and myself, and the rest of the crew sold out the Halifax Forum in 15 minutes. First time we've done in years. And that's quite an honor, too.
I
We
guess.
sold out quite a bit. But yeah, we had that solo. So, and all the other places were, really good crowds. So he made a buck.
That he did.
It was fun getting back in to the business, and I think it was 2 weeks. Then he wanted me to stay longer, and that's just for me. Because when I quit the business, I took all my tights, all my boots, put them in a big garbage bag, and threw them in a dumpster. That was the only way for me not to get back in the business. And that's what I did, But I wish I didn't, because people wanted to buy them today. Offer a lot of money
for
them.
sure.
Damn,
Buy another mini home.
Do you remember them two jumpsuits that had the red, white, and blue one that said Robert Joseph Bass, and the other one, the black one with the big stuff? I got $700 a piece for them. They were sitting in my closet for years, and some guy from Calgary said, "You want to sell them?" So just told the blue one, "Yeah, $700 a piece." Okay. I said, "Helen, got $700." But yeah, I took them out. I took them out to BC and out to Calgary. When I went out to see her son there, Helen's son, not my son, her son, and I met him. He gave me $1,400 cash.
Right on.
Yeah, I've been very lucky, very, very lucky. In the business. Still walking and talking, shooting the shit, telling stories. But well, us the old guys get together, and especially CAC in Vegas, we tell the same stories. We heard the same story 100 times, but we still get a kick out of them.
That's all it's all about. It's the memories, right?
Yeah, well, now it's the memories,
Yeah.
I don't think the young kids today would have the memories that we have, or do the traveling we did, and be in shape that we did. I mean, a lot of people say, "Oh, you old timers." Yeah, we're old timers, but I'll tell you what, you couldn't lace our boots up, pal. 7 days a week, twice on Sunday. We toured the Maritime. And I think we did Cocan on Monday, St. John on Tuesday. And that was like a rest day for us, because you could leave late in the afternoon, you could sleep in. But the other days we did Berwick, Halifax, Bridgewater. Which was a rough town? Oh, I got a story about Bridgewater. You want to hear it?
Oh,
Absolutely.
Me and the Cuban moved against Leo and Bobby K. And that big guy come up to the railing when Cuban was thrown out and grabbed Cuban. Well, Cuban a pretty tough dude, right? The Cuban started nailing him. Boom, boom, boom. The guy goes down, and Cuban kicked and shot him, and the guy's not going out. I jumped down, and we're pounding the piss out this guy. And the cops are looking at it, doing nothing. So after about 7 or 8 minutes, the cops, okay, break it up. So we figured we're going to get out. They grabbed this guy. The guy said, I'll get you guys outside. And the cops said, you know who that is? I haven't a clue. Some goofball, far as we know. You ever remember that guy who did the movie in the Maritime? My Name is Bill.
No.
They figured, well, you will when I tell you the rest of the story. They figured he murdered somebody in a fishing boat and threw him overboard.
Oh, I do know that.
Yeah. Your dad knows it too. And he used to torture his wife physically. And can I say he used to pull her pubic hair out and the hair out of her head and her eyelashes? Tortured her. And we come out and jumped in the car, and Cuban said, Amigo, duck down. I said, what? And the windshield blew up. He hit her with a shotgun. So the cop grabbed him, and we charged him with that. Anyway, stuff like that happened. I got knifed 1, 2, 4 times. Got knifed. Shot at a couple times. So, but yeah, your stories like that, you try to forget, but when we're talking like this, to come back,
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Idiots.
Yeah.
Guys that try to get in the ring or cross that barrier to the no saying, they're fair game. You come into our territory. And we have no problem of knocking them out, protecting ourselves, And you beat that guy up. Oh, it's okay for him to knife me and all that. Cool. Oh, you're a pro wrestler. Oh, pardon me. You knifed me because I'm a pro wrestler?
Yeah.
What are you, nuts?
Yeah.
Stories like that you can tell.
But I can tell you right now, like, my father used to be a big fan of the Cuban Assassin. Like, he was his favorite. He used to always want to go see him anytime that he was able to. And he'd always, well, he'd tell me anyway, because I'm a much younger guy. But anyway, like, he used to tell me that he said, like, oh, I want to go see what the Cuban Assassin's going to do tonight. Like, you might see him jump into the crowd or something and try and scare someone. Or
he would do that. He would do that. I tell you what, he was tough. We were driving back on a bus. There's a guy out west you brought in from Scotland called the Loch Ness Monster. Remember him? Never took a shower. Stunk to high heaven. And he did. Oh God, I'm not telling no lies to the school. So we're coming back, and Bobby Fulton, who became one of the Fantastics, he was out there with us. Fat little chubby guy in them days. He was sitting in the seat, and me and the Cuban throwing pennies at the big guy, hitting him back in the head. He turns around with Tim was asleep. He said to Bobby, "If you do that again, laddie, I'm going to take you aside this van and kick your ass." And so 5-10 minutes go by, hit him again with a coin. And he said, "Stop this van!" And he dragged Bobby out. Bobby, what the hell's going on? So we get outside the van, and you hear click. Cuban got the hook knife. He said, "Amigo, I cut your guts out. Let him go." "Oh, I'm sorry." Got back in the van, didn't say a word. You ever meet him? You love the guy. Down to earth. He did like I did. He turned into a Cuban assassin. Angel was his real name,
Yeah.
And we all call him Angel inside the ring. Nice guy you want, but you same as me. Dennis, and then you get into that Bobby Vat character when you get to the arena. And you got to perform or you're not going to do anything. You know?
Well, actually, so
here we go.
The mark's going, baby.
I did actually see a little bit of you in real action wrestling.
What I don't know is I put a lot of money into real action wrestling. I own some of that company. You know, and real action wrestling, I put a lot of money into it. Partners in there, and I forget who. I'm thinking about the other day who ran that. I can't think of the name. Two guys.
Brian Marchand and I forget the other one.
Was Ryan the skinny guy?
I believe so. He managed by the end there as well.
I know one guy used to take the ring truck and was always late getting the ring to the arena. You know, remember that?
Yeah.
You know? I mean, Emil had it there 4 or 5 hours ahead of time, set up, ready to go. But this guy, they want to do something, you want to make the buck, but they don't want to put the time and effort in to do it. You know. Matter of fact, I got the Canadian Heavyweight Championship belt that they had in the organization. And
is that the championship belt that ripped in 2 pieces?
That's what I was about to ask.
The strap did.
Yeah.
I got that.
So
I got that.
Yeah. So we spoke about that match on the podcast with Gary Williams at the time, which was the one that pulled the belt off the hook and ripped it.
I got that belt. What did Gary say about it?
Well, he was telling us how it was stuck in there, so he had to pull on it, but it was such a cheap material that he just ripped it in half.
Yeah,
but he was telling us how you had it, actually.
Yeah, and I got that belt in my liquor cabinet in the back, in front of all the liquor. It's in the back, all the liquor bottles. I had it 10 years now, maybe longer. And who wanted to buy? Oh, Dave Boyce wanted to buy it, and I said no.
Dave wants to buy everything.
Yeah.
You know, he has that money with his face on it.
Don't go with that money. Get the real money. Don't get Dave's voice bucks.
That's bullshit. But I say to Dave, you know what? You're just a make-believe manager. You'd never shine my shoes, pal. You know. I said, you ever seen Bobby Batcave throw through tables or hit with chairs or canes or whatever? I said, you're just a Mickey Mouse. I said, where'd you get that goofy laugh? However he laughed, you know. Jeez. But Dave's a good guy. We hang out in Vegas. You know?
Yeah, Dave's awesome.
He leaves when we stop buying beer, he gets up and leaves. Go to the next
It's his bedtime, man.
Yeah. Dave's a good guy. I gotta say that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah.
And Gary Williams, absolutely love Gary Williams. Gary's a great guy. He would have been a big star in Grand Prix wrestling, but he came in near the end.
Yeah.
And even the Cuban, myself, and all the guys said Gary would have been a hell of a heel, top heel in that promotion. We were kind of hoping he would get the push, but there wasn't enough time left.
And,
yeah.
Gary still looks good today. You know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Getting back in the ring as well.
Yeah, I heard that. Yeah, it had to wheel me in a wheelchair to get in the ring. Yeah. But no, I love the bitch, and don't get me wrong, but I know when my time was up, the body said, that's it, you're finished. After 24 years of bump taking and traveling, I just didn't want nothing to do with the business anymore. You wanted me to train people? I said no. You know, they wanted me to referee? I said no. I just wanted to get away from the business, which I did for about 8 years.
Yeah.
You know, I wouldn't go to wrestling matches or nothing like that. And I was invited to Maple Leaf Gardens. WWE invite me down to the big WrestleMania. I wouldn't go. I live in a little small town now, which is nice. 3 cars at a traffic jam, you know.
Great.
I'm happy.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know, I had a lot of fun, a lot of good memories. A lot of people remember me, you know. And like I said earlier, no women named a baby, no class. You know?
Not that you know of.
No, I know of, no. But what you said there earlier, a lot of people remember me for what I did, and I think that's cool. But again, to me, I don't think I did nothing fantastic. I just had fun, You know, and I still get people call me a son of a bitch. You're a cheat. You're a liar. Well, yeah, of course I was. That's kind of part of the gimmick. But you know,
Exactly.
like I said, guys, I just had a great time.
I think we're gonna might be the last question here. And it touches a little bit on the Cauliflower Alley Club that we did mention earlier. And, we've heard stories from different people, especially Dave Boyce, where he's gone. There's a couple other wrestlers in the Maritimes that have gone just for the experience itself and learning from the legends of the business and kind of getting their input on, just where they're headed and whatever, just hearing stories, etc. And what's your experience been like?
Great. Good. Like you say, you meet all the legend. Nick Brockwinkle, Harley Rays, Jack Briscoe was there. Sting and all, Kurt Angle, and Sting, of course. And it's great because they give you information that helps you, about the business and how. Most of them say that, believe it or not, save your money. Because this business does not go on forever. It's great while you're in there now making the big bucks, but when you're finished, make sure you have a stake, a bankroll, that you can live the rest of your life on. Because there's no insurance, there's no pension, nothing. Because we're independent contractors, they say.
Exactly. There's no union or anything like that. So,
well, Jesse tried to get a union going. Hogan ratted him out.
He did. Right before WrestleMania too.
Yeah,
exactly.
And that would have been great for our guys. Pay union dues and everything else. Good pension. Because most guys spend 20 years in business. That's a good little pension to have, something like that.
Absolutely.
But, that's the first thing he said. You save your money. And don't do something you have never tried before in the ring to get hurt. You know what you trained for. Do what you trained for. And don't use. I see this a lot. I saw it today. I saw one guy within 5 minutes use 3 finishes. He used the bulldog, which is my finish, believe it or not. The DDT and ankle lock by Kurt. 3 finishes move. Use it for high spot. We were always told never use a finish for a high spot. And if you did bulldog, we never used it. You did the ankle, we never used it. Because people are associated with these guys using it as the finish, DDT. But and then you shoot the shit about the olden days and where you've been, and we all get at a place called the Red Room, and the stories like you got to be there. It's amazing. Not just our story, the other guys. We get about 30 guys at the table. We all got the pitchers of beer, and the stories start. You're there at 3 or 4 in the morning.
The more beer, the funnier the stories you get, I suppose.
Oh yeah. It is. It's a hoot. It's a lot of fun to go there. It's getting expensive, though. To go now. I mean, I just paid $775 to go down. Me and Ronnie going down, and then you got to pay. I think it's $250 or $300 for the dinner, and then the room, all American money. But you got to realize too. It was a lot of money, but they collect that money to help wrestlers. So So I'm not going to the dinner. Well, listen, the money you buy for the dinner, that goes into a kiddie fee. So the meals are the shit. Little piece of chicken, all dried up. You got to look for it on the plate. It's fun. You get to meet the guys. There's a whole lot. You guys should go there one year. You guys should go down. You guys
Dave said the same thing to us a few times that we should go to Vegas for that.
It's quite an experience, And you go drink with all these legends, and you find out they're just ordinary people like us, and have a great time with them. And they're just they shoot the shit, have a good laugh. Hey, look at the boobs and that chick over there, you know. but, you know, we're all the same, and I go. I mean, and I'm surprised at how many people know me. Holy Christ! I did a seminar with Ronnie Hutchison, and the room was jam-packed. Well, I got the video at home and never watched it yet. After a year ago. I get around. A couple of beer, I might turn it on.
There you go.
Well, this has been an absolute pleasure for us. You know, a legend in the Maritimes. He won't admit it himself, but one of the all-time greats here in the Maritimes, no class, Bobby Bass. Thank you for doing this, sir. Hey,
guys, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor, and I hope to meet you guys in person. You have my home Facebook thing there?
I can send you a friend request on Facebook if you want.
Yeah, do that.
All right, I'll do that.
And,
all right.
Maybe I'll meet up and have a few brewskis.
Absolutely. So before we sign out, I will do that.
Not you, him.
Him, okay. My dad doesn't know you, so before we sign out, we got someone here that would like to say hi. So.
I better not be a girl, because I got. Oh, Jesus Christ!
You know, talk about the chicken that's dried up.
Yeah, you. I'm looking at it. Let me tell you something. You would never, ever be the manager I was in the Maritime. You try to copy me and everything you do. And Dave, it's not working for you, pal. Sorry. No?
That's all right.
You know it and I know it. And hey, guys, he won't buy the beer in Vegas. So he sit at a table, and somebody order around, a couple rounds here, take him. Hey, Dave. Oh, I got to go to the washroom. And he's gone. How you doing, Dave?
I'm great. You would never know anyway. You're in bed by 6 p.m. What are you talking about?
No, 7:30.
All right.
So what do you have to?
Nothing. I just thought I'd come in and make sure that you didn't bore these boys to fucking shame for the last 2 hours.
I probably did.
He did not.
He did not. About you.
Yeah, I'm sure.
They were good.
Do you see my name tag, Bobby?
No.
Oh, it says the greatest manager ever.
Oh, I read it different. The shittiest manager. Guys, I love this guy, but he's an asshole.
Yeah, I know.
But
we last year at CAC, Bobby turned his. I don't know. Was it last year or the year before? You had a walker for some reason. You were having surgery, or you had surgery.
Yeah.
So he had a walker, and we joked about it and stuff. Anyway, one day he decided to. We were all at the little area where we eat.
Yeah,
and Bobby turned his head for a minute, and Madison Miles pulls out 4 tennis balls, and we quickly stick it on his walker. And when Bobby goes to get up, his walker just slides across the floor.
I still got them half the tennis balls. I still got them.
Oh, do you? Good.
Yeah, it's a nice memory for me, you know. I tell the guy, the guy put them on my walker and just.
I love you, Bobby.
Oh, yeah. Listen to the bullshit, boys. You're hearing it now.
I'll see you in August.
We're going to finish this up, and we're going to continue the conversation off air. So, again, Bobby Bass, thank you so much for doing this. I hope you can join us once again someday. All right. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will see you next time.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember to catch us here every Wednesday for a new episode. Please visit us on Facebook, Instagram, and more. Links are in the description. See you next time.
Don't miss out and don't be late. Hear wrestling talk that's first rate. When